Today's show is a bonus show. It required immediate attention. Her name is Marisol Fuentes. She went to court. She begged them to protect her. And they sent her home to the man who killed her. That's not a speculation. That's not my hot take. That's the documented record. And today, we're going to talk about every single person and institution that was standing between Marisol Fuentes and a grave. Because some of them are hiding behind silence, some are hiding behind paperwork, and some of them helped build the very system that was supposed to save her. And today we crack that door open on what really happened in Berlin, New Hampshire. Let's go into who is Marisol Fuentes. Before we go deep into the institutional rabbit hole, and trust me, it goes deep, I need you to sit with me for a moment with a human being. Her name is Marisol Fuentes. She was a woman in Coos County, New Hampshire. She was in danger, and she knew she was in danger. She went to the court, the very institution we build and fund and trust with our lives. And she said, and I quote, "Please protect me from my husband." Of course, the court didn't protect her. On July 6, 2025, her husband killed her. I want you to hold that because every detail we're about to unpack, it has a human being's name on it. Marisol. Say it with me. Marisol Fuentes. Okay, now let's get back to work. The magistrate who shouldn't have been there. Here's where the story gets complicated, and by complicated, I mean the kind of complicated that powerful people hope you'll get bored before you figure it out, which is what happens. A magistrate named Stephanie Johnson set bail for Marisol's husband. He walked out, he killed her. Stephanie Johnson was forced to resign. But here's what nobody's putting in the headline. Stephanie Johnson was brand new. She was sworn in as a magistrate in December of 2024, a matter of months before Marisol Fuentes died. She came up through the ranks of an assistant county attorney in Rockingham County and a former assistant AG in the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit. Now, I'm not saying she was incompetent in those roles. I have no idea. What I am saying is that somebody approved her for this magistrate position. Somebody vetted her and somebody signed off on it. And that somebody was the Judicial Selection Commission, with the blessing of the New Hampshire Supreme Court Chief Justice, Gordon MacDonald. So let's write that name down, Gordon MacDonald. So former AG, current Chief Justice, his signature is on the institutional chain of custody that put Stephanie Johnson on the bench. But there's another name on that Judicial Selection Commission. Oh, is there ever? Lynn Shelett and the uncomfortable overlap. Lynn Shelett is the executive director of the New Hampshire Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence, the NHCADSV. She was on the Judicial Selection Commission, which means Lynn Shelett, the head of the state's premier domestic violence organization, was part of the process that vetted and approved Stephanie Johnson as a magistrate. The same magistrate who set bail, the same magistrate who resigned, and the same case where a woman begged for protection and didn't get it. Sound familiar? Amanda Grady Sexton? Now, I am not here to throw Lynn Shelett under a bus without evidence. That's not what we do here. But I am here to ask a question that nobody in New Hampshire's institutional press seems to want to ask. Did anyone at the New Hampshire Coalition Against Domestic and Sexual Violence raise a red flag during the vetting process? And if not, why not? What was the vetting process actually looking for? Because here's the thing about wearing two hats. When you sit on a judicial selection commission and you run the organization that's supposed to hold the justice system accountable on domestic violence, those two roles can create a conflict of interest, don't you think? You helped build the bench, and now the bench failed. That's an uncomfortable place to be, Lynn. So what does Lynn Shalett do when she's in an uncomfortable place? She issues a press release. The press release that said nothing. So after the Berlin Police Department published its own internal review acknowledging failures in the Marisol Fuentes case, the NHCADSV released a statement. It called for more training. Here's what the coalition statement did not say. It did not say whether a victim's advocate from Response, that's the local crisis center for Coos County, one of 12 crisis centers under the NHCADSV's umbrella, was present at Marisol Fuentes' court hearing. It did not say whether an advocate was called. It did not say whether Response followed protocol. It did not say whether NHCADSV is conducting its own review. It said we need more training. So here's the exquisite irony. Are you ready? The coalition, that acronym's too long to say, provides the training that police department personnel are required to attend. So the organization calling for more training is the organization that runs the training program that the police department that failed was supposed to have attended. Can't make this up. Berlin PD published a report on what went wrong on their end. We know this because it's public record, but where is the Response's report? Where is the NHCADSV's accountability review of its own member crisis center? The silence is a statement. Let's talk about the right to know wall. Enter Executive Councilor Janet Stevens. Councilor Stevens has been pushing Berlin Police Department through New Hampshire's right to know law, RSA 91A, trying to get records on what domestic violence protocols were followed or not followed in the lead up to Marisol Fuentes' murder. Berlin PD said no. They cited privacy concerns for Marisol Fuentes. Marisol Fuentes is dead. She was murdered by the person she was trying to be protected from. The privacy rationale for a deceased victim in a matter of urgent public interest involving potential protocol failures by a publicly funded police department is at minimum legally creative. At maximum, it's a wall. And the question we should all be asking is what's behind that wall. Councilor Stevens is now asking the New Hampshire Attorney General's office to intervene. Good. That's the right move. Keep pulling. So let's talk about the sovereignty immunity puzzle. So, okay, now I'm going to ask you to put your legal thinking cap on with me for a minute because this next part does matter. There's a legal doctrine called sovereign immunity. In plain English, it protects government entities and sometimes nonprofits that work closely with courts from being sued. New Hampshire's court have extended this protection to nonprofits before. There's a precedent from a case involving CASA NH, court-appointed special advocates, where a judge ruled that because CASA volunteers function as an arm of the court, they get the same immunity protections as a judge. Here's why that matters in Berlin. Response, the local crisis center, provides advocates to attend court hearings with victims. That's literally on their website. Victim advocacy in court settings is their job. If Response had an advocate present or was supposed to have one present in Marisol's case, their liability exposure is significant unless they can claim sovereign immunity. But sovereign immunity in these cases flows through the judge, or in this case, the magistrate. Stephanie Johnson resigned. when a magistrate resigns in disgrace after a catastrophic failure, does the sovereign immunity umbrella could have extended to nonprofits working to appeal? The question is a legal question.